You want to bond your heart with mine? Will you marry me? I don't want you to leave me.
You see the mascara streaks, you hear the breath hitch, Laura's hand trembles, wrapped in nothing but a thin red string instead of the diamond ring she fantasized about for years, as Birkan, still catching his breath from his big speech, asks her to stay bonded forever, even though the only thing certain this morning is airport security and the iron clock on the wall ticking down their last handful of minutes in Turkey together. On the other side of town, in a living room packed up like a lost and found box, Forrest folds his favorite hat, his lucky hat, the only thing his mother didn't guilt him into tossing, before shoving it into Sheena's hands as if all their years of late-night chats, homesick jokes, and secret plans could be crammed into a piece of fabric with a bent brim and a faint smell of yesterday's rain. The stakes are already squeezing in on every side, and if you think this is heading for a storybook ending, please buckle up, because the ink isn't even dry on the latest round of heartbreak for these couples. Before we rewind and expose what's gotten these four human beings to the edge of a meltdown, welcome. You are watching Reality Sport. I'm Oliva. And if you live for jaw-dropping drama and brutally honest reality TV breakdowns, hit that subscribe button now, drop your wildest theory in the comments. Because someone is about to make the biggest mistake of their life before this episode's even half over. Now, seconds after Laura's whisper of I do, and yes, we hit that moment faster than you can say commitment issues, Birkan's left twirling the string on his own ring finger instead of booking a celebratory dinner, and Laura's pulse is stuck in that no-return zone where the only thing louder than her nerves is the echo of last night's promises not to walk out again. She's half in a fairy tale and half in a panic, because she knows what happened the last time she trusted love over logic, and the memory still burns. Meanwhile, Forrest tries to convince Sheena with his sad, hopeful eyes that this airport goodbye is temporary, his voice cracking on each word as he says his mother's health comes first. Not the future he swore he'd build with Sheena, not the new job he said he'd land, and definitely not the life in the Philippines he once called their paradise. All the cards on this table are bent and marked. Michael, the wildcard friend, or maybe just the backup plan, lingers in Laura's shadows, while Molly's grip on Forrest's decisions keeps twisting tighter. Another unseen character playing puppeteer with words like family duty and don't trust her. Who holds the real power here? Who's hiding the deepest secret? And who's about to get left behind for good? Viewers, you're about to see who cracks first. Will Laura ever fully forgive Birkan for his past jealousies and debt? Or will she crack the moment she's back in her old country, surrounded by all the comforts and temptations she once ran from? Is Sheena truly strong enough to outlast Molly's backroom schemes? Or will Forrest's promises dissolve before his plane even lands? There's more at stake than one broken engagement or a delayed honeymoon. Someone is about to learn if love is actually a one-way ticket, and the moment you think the storm has passed, another secret is waiting around the corner, ready to explode. Before all the ugly crying and frayed tempers, everyone watching could swear there were real sparks flying. Laura smiling wide on the Bosporus ferry, Birkan's arm around her waist, both pretending they never noticed how tense she got whenever his phone buzzed. Forrest and Sheena sharing quiet, hopeful glances over street food in Manila, joking about which in-law would be toughest, as if you could just laugh your way past history's sharp edges. Back then, problems felt small. Little did they know every inside joke was just a paper bandage on a wound never allowed to heal, and each sweet Insta post was filtering out the cracks already forming underneath. Laura keeps replaying the feeling when Birkan called her his last love, but every time she tells herself he means it, something cold and logical snaps her back to the tab he's running with every lender in town. The fear in his eyes whenever serious money talk shows up at the dinner table. She's not blind. She notices the way he gets fidgety when anyone asks about his big plans, and the way he laughs off engagement rings with stories about ancient traditions and symbolic gestures, pretty words, zero substance, or maybe a desperation not to lose her at any cost. Forrest, on the other hand, is the king of holding back. He doesn't fight, Doesn't yell, just quietly waits for someone else to decide his future. His silence makes Sheena dig in even harder. Like if she just loves loud enough, Molly's pressure will bounce off. But loyalty starts to taste like fear when every promise he makes is instantly double-checked against his mother's reactions. Molly's not just a mom, she's an emotional chess master, always 3 moves ahead, always ready to play the victim card, throwing out phrases like "I don't trust Sheena," and protect the family until Forrest can't tell if he's following his heart or blindly repeating history. People keep asking, is any of this even love? Or are these 4 souls just running from emptiness, clinging to the first person who offered them a future different than the last heartbreak? There's no shortage of receipts, clips of Laura's DM drama with Michael, moments caught where Birkan glances too long at her phone. Old texts from Forrest popping up even when he promised Sheena she was his one and only. Sheena posting throwbacks about standing strong, but her eyes say she's tired of being the one fighting hardest every time someone else fails. Scroll the socials, and you'll find just as many comments picking apart every decision. How can you trust someone with that much debt? Would you move back across the world if your mom snapped her fingers? The kind of criticism that stings because it slices close to the bone. Are they blinded by hope or addicted to being wanted? Critics might be right. Love isn't always strong enough to survive the truth. If trust keeps getting broken, can any couple pull themselves back together? Or will all these second chances turn to ash the minute they step on new soil? With family lines drawn, old wounds exposed, and new deals cut behind each other's backs, every hug is starting to look like the start of another goodbye. Do you trust their smiles, or spot the quiet panic building with every passing second? Even now, a new secret waits to land, and the next betrayal could be coming from the person least expected. Airports don't just test patience, they expose every crack in a relationship. Laura's face says it all. The tension between excitement and dread, her eyes constantly shifting from Birkan to Michael as if she's waiting for one of them to finally speak the truth everyone feels circling the room. There's Michael, pretending he's chill, but not so subtly angling to stay in her orbit, even managing to end up on the same return flight. By accident, of course. Meanwhile, Birkan, still sweaty from his soccer field philosophy and string ceremony, clings to Laura as if she could slip away any second. His demeanor extra upbeat, but his shoulders hunched as if he's bracing for another blow he half expects. Across the world, Forrest scrambles to convince himself, Sheena, and anyone listening that this goodbye is only for now, while Molly hovers, dropping passive-aggressive hints that life in the Philippines was never really an option if she didn't approve. Her eyes light up when Forrest folds, her relief unconcealed, but Forrest's gaze shifts to the floor each time, and Sheena stays silent just long enough for you to wonder how many promises she's been told to just be patient before. What did they all hope for coming into this trip? Laura probably dreamt of clearing the air, forging trust out of ashes, maybe finally getting the romantic fairy tale she built up in every phone call home, but deep down she's watching for signs that Birkan still hides things from her, and that Michael, her supposed best friend, might not really know his place. Birkan wants her future, yes, but mostly he needs her to believe in him enough to cover his wounds, ignore the whispers about debt that will never completely vanish, and keep seeing him as someone worth chasing across continents. Forrest came seeking courage, or maybe just relief from the guilt of disappointing everyone, caught between a fiancé whose love is loud and a mother whose disappointment is louder. Sheena, she only wanted someone to pick her without flinching, and you see it in her grip on Forrest's hat, white-knuckled but fading as reality sets in. Every missed call, every hurried explanation, every "I promise," next time, it all replays at baggage check, security line, boarding gate. Laura once leaned in toward Michael for a kiss, making Birkan question everything. Forrest once called Sheena his forever. But his forever always stops where Molly's anger begins. Is this love or survival? Is believing the best just another way to avoid a harder truth? Birkan's bank account is emptier than his words let on, and Molly's hold on Forrest? If you watch her smile, you know, she isn't letting go anytime soon. and neither is the tension riding shotgun on every goodbye here. You can almost hear the clock ticking, whose lie is about to drop first, and who will finally admit what they've kept hidden all along. Tears come easy on last days, but when the final hugs play out, you can sense these aren't movie goodbyes with a neat reunion around the corner. Every touch is loaded with the fear that saying "see you soon" might be the last real moment both couples will share. Birkan tries to joke about how many steps it takes to get from his heart to America, a forced optimism in every word. But Laura's laughter comes out thin, brittle, barely hiding the question spinning in her mind: did I really just say yes to a promise that comes on a shoestring budget and even thinner guarantees? She traces the string on her finger, trying not to remember every time she settled for less, because she was more afraid of the silence than the risk of getting her heart broken again. Forrest and Sheena put on brave faces, firing off banter about who will take worse care of his hat or who cried harder at the airport. But their humor is crushed by the weight of a 7-year wait, dissolving in a flurry of baggage tags and last calls. Forrest leaves Sheena clutching his favorite hat. Not a ring, not a key, but something that feels like a placeholder. A stand-in for all the stuff he never managed to deliver. Sheena's smile almost holds. Molly, standing a few feet away, allows herself a single "told you so" smirk, her control rewarded in the end. When the doors finally shut in the terminal, Sheena's shoulders slump and Forrest's resolve fizzles. Both knowing optimism can't compete with family drama and crossed wires. Will Forrest ever break free and fight for Sheena? Or is he destined to orbit his mother forever? Does Laura end up regretting tying her heart to a string because she feared real loss more than real love? Here's the real challenge for anyone watching. How do you tell if what's holding you to someone is love or fear of the void they leave behind? The psychology of heartbreak doesn't care for pretty words. Crying at the airport might scream epic romance. But sometimes it's a smokescreen for loneliness, insecurity, or not wanting to start over. Are these goodbyes examples of devotion or evidence they both just want to avoid being left out in the cold? Before you decide what to feel, ask yourself, would you fight this hard if you weren't terrified of being alone too? Or is there something real here both couples just can't name yet? As soon as the gate doors click shut, the so-called last moments reveal their real faces, the mask of forced hope sliding away faster than an unread text notification. Michael lingers way too conveniently by Laura's side at the airport, all smiles and soft questions, his presence suddenly feeling less like a concerned friend and more like a backup plan, waiting for any sign Laura might slip or crack. Laura, still shaky from her half-farewell to Birkan, doesn't rush to put distance between them. Instead, she hesitates, phone in hand, eyes flickering between a blank message screen and the side profile of the guy she once wanted as more than just a shoulder to cry on. Meanwhile, Sheena wastes no time either. As Forrest's plane disappears, her own phone lights up with messages from friends, family, even a nosy cousin asking, "So, are you guys finally done or what?" There's no hiding behind optimism now. Her honest reaction spills out in a single sigh, a half-finished reply, the start of a story she isn't ready to tell. She thinks about Forrest's promises, about how quickly a future can become another unanswered call, and for the first time, her doubts go public in the form of a quietly deleted social post, before she chickens out and decides to keep her life a little more private this time. Real talk. Everyone watching this show has felt the sting of being talked about like you're not in the room, of dealing with parents, friends, followers, or even total strangers who claim they know your next move better than you do. Psychologists say the line between letting go and holding on is never as simple as a yes or no. Sometimes the hardest battles are fought in your own mind, especially with other people's voices always in your ear. Want a practical rule? If you find yourself rewriting your story to please everyone but you, that's your red flag. If trusting your gut is scarier than staying stuck, maybe the life lesson here is to quit outsourcing choices to people who call their fear advice. By the time Laura gets back to her own time zone, she's surrounded by group chats brimming with questions, family whispers, and Michael's "are you okay?" texts that feel more loaded than friendly. Sheena, a continent away, finds herself stuck in relationship limbo, checking her phone every hour for that promised update from Forrest, while her own circle speculates if this love was ever real. There's still one message waiting to blow everything up, and the next emotional earthquake is already in motion, leaving someone about to regret the trust they gave away. The story's not finished. Who walks away stronger? And who's about to face the fallout of a choice they never thought would haunt them? The minute Forrest lands back home, there's no warm welcome, only Molly's instant interrogation, peppered with sly questions about Sheena's intentions and backhanded sympathy that burns hotter than any honest blame. Her next move? A quiet DM to one of Sheena's relatives, slyly checking in under the guise of concern, but secretly fishing for fresh gossip she can use to keep Forrest feeling trapped. Each day, Forrest tries to focus on setting up job interviews, but it's clear his mind is back in Manila, scrolling through old photos and half-drafted texts he never gets the nerve to send. Even as he promises his mom he's moved on, his phone never leaves his hand. He's waiting, hoping Sheena will forgive all that was left unsaid, even though she stopped replying, one unread message at a time. Laura, meanwhile, is redefining the meaning of mixed signals. She parades that string on her finger for her friends, laughing, calling it cute, but the joke feels hollow every time Michael lingers in the background, waiting for the right moment to finally confess feelings he's held at bay for years. It's the little things that tip everyone off. Just checking in at midnight, photos from Turkey showing up on her story with cryptic captions, and suddenly, Michael's visits edge closer and closer to being something that might not pass the Birkan test. Nobody's saying it out loud, but every group chat and new comment dials the question up another notch. How long until Laura's loyalty is tested? And what secrets did she bring home that Birkan will only learn when it's too late? As for Sheena, each night she alternates between hope for Forrest's future call and drafting a message to finally block him out. Her heart on the line with every vibration from her phone, every rumor making its way back to her inbox from Molly's side of the world. She's tired of explaining why she cared so much for someone who wouldn't stand up when it mattered, but she can't erase the feeling she's still missing part of herself in that empty airport terminal. Here's the catch. Every promise, every unanswered text, every string-tied finger is now a ticking clock, waiting for that next secret to spill. And if you think the fallout stops here, you're about to see these stories go nuclear. Because the lines between friendship, love, and revenge are a mess, wires ready to spark. Before you go, stay tuned, because when the secrets spill onto social media, nobody's relationship will survive untouched, and you'll want a front row seat to the internet's biggest loyalty crisis yet.